Welcome to another episode of Wham Baam Gamercam, full of crazy car crashes from various video games. Grab your snacks, hit the like button, and enjoy. Twin Turbo was driving on the East Coast when a lowered truck pulled out of a gas station, failing to yield to Twin Turbo. That caused him to T-bone the truck. The other driver had no insurance. When the police arrived, he was arrested. Wizoo was driving his orange ETK on the highway when he was suddenly pit maneuvered by another car. He spun out into the left lane where he was hit by an SUV. All involved vehicles were totaled, and the driver who pit maneuvered him was found responsible. Joe was driving his Skoda in Calais. Suddenly, he saw another Skoda overtaking him and a truck ahead of him. During the overtake, another truck appeared in the oncoming lane. The Skoda driver swerved back, sideswiping the truck. Then, a truck driving in the middle of the road hit the oncoming truck, sending it flying. Remind me to stay off this insane road. Isaac experienced an epic close call. A reckless driver was overtaking a semi-truck on a blind curve. Thankfully, the road was wide enough for everyone. Skate was racing in F1 2021. The race had just begun, and on the second curve, something terrible happened. Carlos Sainz slowed way down, leading our submitter to hit his vehicle. Both cars were towed to the pits. This time, he was driving his Volvo semi-truck. As he approached a curve, he saw another truck in the oncoming lane. He slammed on the brakes and swerved into the ditch, successfully avoiding a collision with the truck. Ari was driving through an Italian city filled with narrow streets. As he approached a parking lot, he saw a small vehicle falling down from the street above. The vehicle landed on a supercar, causing over $75,000 in damage. Andre was driving around in Forza Horizon 3 when he spotted a van stalled on train tracks. As he watched, a heavy train appeared and smashed into the van at full speed. The van then appeared back on the road and carried on driving. Tudor was sitting in the passenger seat of his friend's car. His friend was clearly overconfident in his driving skill. Unsurprisingly, the joyride ended in a crash after they lost control at high speed and smashed into a tree. Eddie was driving his GT3 RS at the Nürburgring when he went too fast into a curve. He hit some safety barriers, then spun out and crashed into another set of safety barriers on the other side of the track. His Porsche was totaled. This submitter was driving his blue sedan when he approached an intersection and the driver of a purple vehicle merged to the left. Sadly, our submitter was driving around 80 miles per hour at the time. He slammed on the brakes, but there was no way he could avoid a collision. Both vehicles were severely damaged and undrivable. Username was driving his semi-truck with another one in the left lane. The other truck was swerving from side to side before hitting Username's truck, rolling them both over. The police were contacted, and repairing the trucks cost about $2,500 each. Lodi was driving a Rossellini Tempesta GT at around 190 miles per hour on I-88. After catching air, the car flew into the middle lane and rear-ended a vehicle. The police arrived shortly after, and Lodi was arrested for reckless driving. Bernard was driving on a highway at night. Visibility was terrible thanks to fog. Sadly, that resulted in him rear-ending a vehicle that had stopped for an earlier collision. Both cars were totaled, but thankfully nobody was seriously hurt. Andre was driving recklessly when he approached a sharp curve. He was driving too fast and he crashed into the guardrail before spinning out and coming to a stop. The repair bill for the car was $9,800 since a front wheel had come completely off and the side of the vehicle needed major work. Chase was driving his tow truck on the River State Highway. He was distracted by a nice-looking Camry and didn't notice traffic slowing down in his lane. He rear-ended 2 vehicles before coming to a stop. Chase exchanged information with the other drivers. The insurance companies deemed the van and the sedan total losses. This emitter sent us some security cam footage of a vehicle losing control on an icy curve and crashing into a parked vehicle. That's gotta be a bad day. Quarks was sitting in his car when he witnessed a cart demon. Thankfully, this one didn't cause much damage. David was transporting cargo and had been on the job for 34 hours straight without sleep. On a narrow road, he turned sooner than he should have. He hit the guardrail, which pushed him into another guardrail before his truck rolled over. Ace was driving to a friend's house when another driver failed to yield to him at an intersection. I can't figure out how the other driver didn't see Ace since the intersection is wide and there were no other cars around. Herbert was driving his BMW during rush hour. All of a sudden, an oncoming car entered his lane. Herbert reacted quickly as he slammed on the brakes, swerved left to avoid a collision, and then fought to keep the car under control to avoid crashing into any other vehicles. James was driving his Volvo XC90 when he was hit by a Ferrari 458. Let's hope the Ferrari driver has insurance. The Striker sent us this funny clip of a spinning formula car. This emitter was driving his pickup when he lost control and crashed into a tree. His vehicle was irreparable since the whole truck had been crushed. Bobby was speeding down a highway testing out his new ride. All of a sudden, a car drifted into Bobby's lane, causing him to sideswipe it before he lost control and crashed into a concrete support. Anthony was driving down a highway on the American West Coast. Suddenly, a vehicle in front of him merged into his lane. Anthony slammed on the brakes, lost control, and crashed into concrete barriers. Adam was driving his Porsche GT3 RS when a vehicle suddenly rolled over right in front of him. He managed to avoid the vehicle, but the evasive maneuver caused him to lose control and crash into the rocks. Great White 1 was driving his Cupra at high speed. Suddenly, he lost control in a curve and rear-ended another vehicle at high speed. The police responded. Thankfully, there were no injuries, but both cars were totaled. This emitter was approaching an intersection when another driver failed to yield to him. Both drivers had green lights, but since the oncoming vehicle was turning left, our emitter had the right-of-way. Thankfully, he managed to avoid hitting the vehicle. David was driving in winter conditions when a van suddenly merged into his lane. David slammed on the brakes and swerved, but he still hit the oncoming vehicle. Thankfully, the van driver stopped and took responsibility. Want to win a Wham Baam hoodie? We're giving one away every week for 10 weeks. To enter, send a video in to our newest channel, Wham Baam Security Cam. If your video is used in an episode, you'll be entered in the giveaway. Then, make sure you're subscribed to Wham Baam Security Cam so you'll know if you win. Good luck!